President Donald Trump has spent almost his entire political career attacking the independence of the judicial system. But even against that backdrop, the first 3 months of his second term have been something else. As judges have halted his actions or ruled against him in dozens of cases, he and his top allies have increasingly cast their decisions as an illegal and unconstitutional power grab from another branch of government. It's the kind of talk that could lead to ugly places. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on Tuesday cited rogue district court judges. Top White House advisor Stephen Miller late Wednesday denounced a rogue radical left judiciary. Vice President J.D. Vance has railed against radical left judges. Attorney General Pam Bondi referred to low-level leftist judges who are trying to dictate President Trump's executive powers. Elon Musk has gone so far as to claim that a judicial coup is underway and has pushed for impeaching individual judges. One of the most popular memes in right-wing social media circles this week is a comparison of the number of legal injunctions faced by Trump versus other recent presidents. Trump has faced many more than the others, even as the meme butchers the data. There is at least one very good reason for those numbers, though, and that is that Trump has gone to extraordinary lengths to test the limits of his power. He has even done transparently illegal things in hopes that the Supreme Court will change its precedents. But there's another aspect of Trump's attack on the judiciary that should not be lost. It's not just Democratic-appointed, so-called leftist judges who are rebuking him. A fast-increasing number of Republican appointees have also cast the administration's actions as blatantly illegal, lawless, and even dangerous to U.S. democracy. Their words undercut the idea that this is some ideological power grab by judges and instead point to one by the administration, as noted by the judges themselves. The most recent ruling came Tuesday, when Ronald Reagan-appointed U.S. District Judge Royce C. Lamberth halted the administration's attempt to shutter Voice of America, the government-funded global news broadcaster. Lamberth said the administration basically made no effort to comply with the law. It is hard to fathom a more straightforward display of arbitrary and capricious actions than the defendant's actions here, he said. Just 5 days earlier, fellow Reagan appointee J. Harvey Wilkinson III issued perhaps the most blistering ruling against the administration to date. He pitched its efforts to deport undocumented immigrants without due process as an inflection point for the foundation of our constitutional order. He even suggested such an effort could threaten U.S. citizens and political opponents of the president. This should be shocking not only to judges, but to the intuitive sense of liberty that Americans far removed from courthouses still hold dear, Wilkinson said. Earlier this month, Wilkinson called the idea that the government could deport people without due process and not retrieve them, as the administration has effectively maintained in the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case, a path of perfect lawlessness, one that courts cannot condone. Just a day after the earlier ruling from Wilkinson, it was a Trump appointee issuing a rather stark rebuke. U.S. District Judge Trevor N. McFadden called the administration's limits on the Associated Press's White House access a brazen violation of the First Amendment, because it discriminated against AP solely based on its viewpoint. If there is a benign explanation for the government's decision, it has not been presented here, McFadden said. He added that all indicators point to retaliation. Hard to fathom. A path to perfect lawlessness. A brazen example of retaliation. And that's just Republican-appointed judges ruling against Trump in the last 17 days. These are merely the latest examples. I recapped several more here back in February. One Reagan appointee back then said Trump was trampling on the Constitution for political or personal gain. A George W. Bush appointee this year called Trump a charlatan who doesn't, in my view, really care about democracy, but only about power, and cautioned that our democracy is in trouble. Lamberth is one of multiple Republican appointees who have decried Trump and his allies' attempts to rewrite the history of January 6, 2021, with Lamberth calling it misguided rhetoric that could presage further danger to our country. The combined picture is one of a Trump effort that hasn't just been stymied by left-leaning judges, but many right-leaning ones as well. In fact, a recent review by Georgetown law scholar Stephen I. Vladek found that Republican judges have ruled against Trump at a striking clip. While most of the injunctions this year have been issued by Democratic appointees, that's largely because they have handled most of the cases. When those cases were brought in front of Republican appointees, those judges issued injunctions a whopping 45% of the time. The latest adverse ruling came Wednesday from Trump-appointed U.S. District Judge Stephanie Gallagher. She became the second judge to determine that the administration had wrongly deported a man to El Salvador and to order it to facilitate his return. And in many cases, those Republican appointees haven't just been content to rule against the administration, they have sought to make a point about how drastic and lawless, in their own words, the efforts of Trump and his administration are.